What's up guys, Zer here, and today I wanted to make a little bit of a different video. Let's talk about something I actually enjoy, instead of talking about the bad of the gaming industry, I guess. So today we have some thoughts on Sonic Racing Crossworlds. As you can see, this is my gameplay of the game. Not very good, but I'm trying my best. I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts on the open network test, and yeah, if you want the TLDR real quick, I like it. I think it's a good game. I think it is very fun. I do have some notes on things that could be improved and just general things I would like to see improved in the series on the whole. But I do think that overall it's a very solid showing for Sonic. I'm not really going to go into the whole drama with Mario and Sonic fans going head to head or whatever. With the whole some people are like, oh my god, two cakes, and other people are like, oh my god, shut up Sonic, and other people are like, oh my god, shut up Mario. If you want my opinion on that, here's what it is, just real quick. I don't think Mario Kart World is worth $80. I don't think Sonic Racing Crossworlds is necessarily worth $70, but I can definitely see where a lot of the passion was there, and I think that there's a lot of cool stuff to see in both games. But I also just don't really like supporting Nintendo at this point. I think I've been let down too many times to feel comfortable really fully supporting anything that they do, but Sega's also a big corporation, so I don't know. I do know that I'm a lot more hyped for Sonic Racing Crossworlds than I would be for Mario Kart World, but we'll get into that in a second. So to start off with general thoughts I had, I really like most of the base mechanics and whatnot. I think most of the groundwork there is pretty good. Overall, it's a pretty basic kart racer affair. You have your kart, you have items, you have all that good stuff that is going on. Your goal in the Grand Prix is to be the best, and there is a little bit of a kicker here with the rival system. Now, the rival system is essentially any character can act as your rival, and your goal is to beat them. Typically, if you don't come in first, they will. So it essentially is just another way to get you to lock in and, strut your stuff. And I think it's a good way of motivating the player. I know that there's a rival system in Mario Kart, but I like that that's put front and center here, and you get some interesting interactions with some otherwise, not seen together characters. I really like the rival system. I do have one complaint, and that is the animation, models, and voice work is a little bit iffy in my opinion. The models, I'm sure you've seen a ton of discourse around if you've been on Twitter or just any part of the internet regarding Sonic over the past year or so. I definitely think the art direction of the series needs a major overhaul. If you wanted my opinion on where the best place to start, I would say the style from the past couple of animations, so Shadow Generation, Stark Beginnings, and Sonic Racing Crossworlds, the animation. I think if we took the style from that and made that just the main style of the series as a whole, I think we'd be having a good solid place to start. And then I think we need to refine the models from there, because these are not the best way these characters have looked. But that's getting a little ahead of myself. I do plan on making a fuller video going into that, because that is something that I really care about. I see a lot of people saying a lot of not very nice things about other people for being discontent with the models, and I'll just say here, as a person who likes art and does art and all that, there is actual reason to be upset when it comes to these models. Outside of the fact that these have been the models for almost 20 years now, these models were never super great to begin with, and it's only really gotten worse over time, so I think it's important to acknowledge that. One of the other major things this game added was the gadget system, and I really like the gadget system. I think it's cool to have a sort of way to augment your car. You can customize it, but it seems rather limited, though I'm thinking that that's just for the beta, because again, this is a beta network test, this is not the full game, so I'm assuming that this will be fixed in the full launch game, I'm hoping anyway, because I think that there needs to be a little bit more ability to tweak your vehicles, but I will get to that in a second. The gadgets themselves are really cool. I like how it kind of allows you to build your own niche in terms of playstyle, even if you're playing a certain vehicle type. I personally mostly play the Extreme Gear, which is the best with boosting, and I personally use gadgets to kind of augment my boosting playstyle. So I had Drift Spin to protect me. I use various others I can't remember right now. I'll try and remember to put them up on screen. If I don't kill me. Stuff like that, and just you super customize the way you have your things. I do think the cost for some of them is a bit extreme, and I think that there should be more clarification in terms of certain types, for example, the Speed Machine Kit type. I don't think that should be able to be equipped on a non-speed type vehicle, because it doesn't do anything for those, and I think that kind of tripped me up specifically, because I thought I was going to be even better in races, but I wasn't, right? I really like drifting. I do think that there are some things that they could adjust with the overall handling of driving. I think that in general, the turning needs to be a good bit tighter for most of the vehicles just across the board. Even in my Extreme Gear, which had slightly better handling than the highest speed cars, it still felt really hard to make certain turns, especially in boat form. I don't know if that was just me, but it felt like the drifting and the just overall turning wasn't quite what it should be. Didn't feel quite tight enough for a lot of the things to be reasonable. I remember this one specific turn in Water Palace, I believe, that I would keep consistently not being able to make because I just completely would whiff it and it sucked. And I think that it definitely needs to be fixed up a little bit before release. In terms of the online, now this is something I was absolutely shocked by, but it seemed like the online was actually like a stable experience. Like I didn't seem to have any frame stutters or drops or anything like that. Like it felt like my skill from playing the normal game actually carried over, as opposed to me having to like compensate for the lack of, consistent feeling to the online, if that makes sense. So like I didn't have to like adjust to the frame delay or anything like that, which is genuinely impressive because I'm used to online gaming not being the best, even in games I play regularly like Rivals 2 or something like that. Not trying to say anything better Rivals 2, I love Rivals 2, but like I'm just saying online isn't always the most consistent. I don't know if the real like kicker comes when you're trying to host with people or whatever, but it was also really nice to be able to play the Grand Prix, or not Grand Prix, but like play races just with people online, hop into a lobby and then play and see how you do. It was always really fun. I really enjoyed it. It was always funny to see all the people with monster trucks in their hands at the start of the fucking race. It was that was incredible. Now to get more specific with the festival, which is, as I'm recording, will be over in about 6 hours because it's over on the 1st of September. Now I'm really excited like to see what else they'll do with it because the festival is actually really cool. Festivals are essentially team-based events where you still race the same way, but it's more cumulative. So like for example, there will be an extra kicker, like you gotta do a ton of air tricks and the team that does the most air tricks will get a bonus at the end. So it's not necessarily going to menu the game if everyone is really good, but given that like it kind of encourages you to rethink the way you play the game a little bit, and I think that's really cool. It was really funny to see like various people just be Joker or Shadow. I think I had a team where it was like almost the entire team was Shadow and there's like one Sonic, which was funny. I think that was like the main thing though. Yeah. Now, a few more things I wanted to talk about. All the music is really good. Outside of the main vocal theme, I felt like that was a bit too corny and on the nose. I didn't really like it that much. I generally just like songs where the vocals don't feel super on the nose. I think that that's like kind of corny, but typically Sonic themes are pretty good, and overall all of the songs in Crossworlds are very good so far. I liked all of the remixes. I especially like the one for, I think it's Bingo Highway from Heroes. I really liked how that one sounded. I didn't really like it all that much. I like the newer one a lot more. Some songs weren't as good, like Metal Harbor I didn't like as much, but I do like the overall sound of the game. I think that that's good. A few more minor things I had in mind. I think it would be a good idea to maybe show the boost meter when tricking to show that you can only charge it up to 3, because that's the thing. You can only charge the boost up to 3, and this extends to the tricks as well. I don't know if you having like the gadget that gives you an extra boost charge allows you to trick more to boost more, but either way, I had on things that allowed me to do a ton of tricks because I thought it would allow me to go super duper fast, not realizing that it didn't do that. I think having the meter show up to kind of hint at that a bit more directly would be just a net positive. And I know people are gonna say, but you can look at the fire on your cart. The thing is, there's a lot to look at on the screen already, so I think it's better to have the meter that we're already used to looking at showcase that, just because it would be a little bit more clear. A few other positives. I really like the rival interaction. Seeing characters like Zaz and Shadow interact was always cool, despite like the voice acting being not the best, honestly. I don't know what they're doing with like the voice direction, but it genuinely needs to like, I don't know, but like someone needs someone needs to get fired or something. I don't know. I really don't know. Like I can't explain what it is. Someone like Kirk Thornton's Shadow is still pretty good. I think he's just kind of gotten good at inferencing how Shadow would say certain things. So I think that that's fine, but I don't know, some, like, even people like Roger, you know, he's a good voice actor, like, he has incredible range, but it just feels like they're not really using these VAs to their most effectiveness because the voice direction is absolutely terrible, and that's really upsetting because I like most of these VAs. Most of them are pretty decent. Also, Zaz screaming like random things, I would hear it all the time when I was racing into it. It would just always tickle me a little bit. It was always really funny. I think they need a new voice director or something because the current state of like how it's looking is not great. Now, is this game better than Mario Kart World? I can't answer that. I don't own a Switch 2 or Mario Kart World. What I can say is I think Sonic Racing Crossworlds is an extremely strong showing for the Sonic Racing series. The mechanics, I like how it feels like my skill as a racer is rewarded. And I know that that's like a thing about Mario Kart where oftentimes it feels like luck of the draw. And, you know, even like the few times I played Mario Kart, I didn't find myself enjoying it because I could just get knocked out of whatever I was doing by like a get lightning bolted, you're out of the race, haha, or whatever, I don't know. And I have heard that, like, you know, bagging is like a thing in Mario Kart. I don't think it's not a thing in Sonic Racing Crossworlds or anything like that, and obviously it is a like blood game as all games are, but I do like what it's got going on. I like its vibe overall. I don't think necessarily that Mario Kart World has no right to exist. I just don't think it's $80 good or anything like that. I think that if games are going to be more experimental, then they should be priced more effectively so that people don't feel like they're paying for, you know, like they're making an investment into an experiment, you know? Especially when most of these developers don't even listen to the people who play their games. If you're going to make a game, I think you should charge reasonably for it. Considering the current economic and political climate, I don't think it's fair to charge $80 or even $70 for a game unless it's like, you know, really well put together. I feel like that $60 price tag or above comes with the expectation that the game you're getting is something that the people put time, effort, passion, and all those things into, you know? There shouldn't be a world where the $15 Hollow Knight feels like it has more love put into it than an $80 game or a $70 game or a $60 game, you know? I don't think that's fair. And a lot of people probably have the same thought behind like Sonic Superstars because I'm pretty sure that was $60. I'll correct it if I am wrong and put it on screen right now, but like that game compared to Sonic Mania is an extreme letdown. I'm sorry, but it's just not as good. And Sonic Mania is $25 for the full package, and it was made by fans for the fans, and you can tell that just by looking at the game. And you know, it's a shame that a lot of the current things feel like they don't truly understand what they're trying to be as well as the fans do sometimes. I think that that's really disappointing, but it just kind of is what it is, and we got to deal with it. But for what it is worth, right, I think Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a pretty good game, you know? I had fun with it. I may fork over the $70 whenever it finally comes out. We'll see what happens. I do hope that if anyone from Sega somehow, by some unholy miracle, finds this video, give me a free copy, no, but just take my advice into consideration. It would really show the fans that, you know, you guys are actually listening and trying to make your game better, you know? Making the turning better or, you know, adding certain things that the fans suggest. I think that would really help to mend things after the, you know, years of kind of just not really giving the fans what they want or deserve, if that makes sense. If you care about your fans, if you really care about your fans, then show that you care through your actions. Don't just say, we care about our fans and want them to feel as safe as possible when playing Sonic Racing Crossworlds. First of all, that's a lie because Amy literally like killed a guy. Like that was crazy. Like that guy is straight up dead. You've seen the memes, Sega. I know what you are. But in all seriousness, I think you should show that you care as opposed to telling us that you care, because that doesn't do anything for anyone. I want to see more games try to actually be something with soul and heart, you know? Like there should be no world where the new Five Nights at Freddy's game has less soul than the Joy of Creation, which is made by a fan. Granted, a fan that's getting paid to make that newer version, but that newer version of the older version that still had a lot more soul than the current games. I don't know, man. I think it's kind of sad that we're in a world where we can just kind of expect that things made for big prices do not have big soul, you know? I think that's really upsetting. And then Silksong, I know I keep mentioning Silksong, but Silksong comes out in 4 days as of writing or recording this, and it looks like it's actually gonna be fire. Like, I think it might actually crash Steam. Like, this is the most anticipated game probably of the last 10 or so years. So I think that that's saying something. you know? I think that these devs, these big companies really got to reevaluate, look in the mirror and be like, where did I go wrong? Like, and the answer is you started being greedy and not caring about the art form that you're using. If you don't care about the art form, it will show in the final product, because regardless of whether or not you want to admit it, video games aren't just something that happened. You don't just snap your fingers and then all of a sudden you have a video game. That's not how this works. It's never been how it works. People spend years of their time toiling away to make something cool. And if you rush that process, if you devalue that process, if you do any of those things, then you fundamentally misunderstand what games and art are all about. That's just my opinion on the matter. I think that companies really need to understand or get some way of keeping themselves in check, because ultimately, I think that, you know, these companies really need to evaluate, are we making games because we feel the need to do it to increase profits? Or are we doing it for the love of the game first, and then, you know, everything else comes second? I don't know. I just feel like that's a thing that maybe they should consider when they're making these games. Anyway, all of that said, I hope you have a great day, night. Damn it, I didn't say the thing. I hope you have a great night. I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.